Keep it pyro.
Freedom Day here in the UK has been and gone. Nightclubs, festivals and everything in between are now open without restrictions for the first time in 16 or so months. I thought it'd be a great idea to pick up and connect with a DJ who I know is not only active in the clubs, but might be able to share some good information about how DJs are feeling right now. They haven't played in front of crowds for a long, long time, haven't played new music in front of crowds for a long, long time, and maybe everyone right now is suffering from some element of anxiety in some way, shape or form. So right here on Pyro with me, Jay Fresh, and it is Jay Fresh, even if the voice is a little bit croaky. Don't watch that. So I thought, let me pick up the phone, let me call RACH KAY, because she's always been killing it out there, doing some great work, and I know she's super active in the clubs. So we've got RACH KAY on the phone line with us right now here at Pyro. How are you doing today, Rach?
Yes, Jay, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. You know what? Your voice is sounding a lot nicer than my voice at the moment. You've been out there in the clubs since Freedom Day, so I thought it'd be great to kind of catch up with you. Before you got back in the clubs, how were you feeling? Was there hesitation, anxiety? Were you worried about what to play? How was your approach as a DJ kind of getting back into the clubs?
Yeah, I was, do you know what? I was quite anxious about getting back in there just because I didn't really know what to expect. You know what I mean? I didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be busy. Like, I didn't know if people were going to come out. I didn't know what song to play first. Like, I had so many things going through my head. But yeah, as soon as I got back into the club, those feelings were just like pushed to the back of my head, and I just got this complete buzz. I was literally so overwhelmed. I think at one point my eyes were like watering, you know, when you're like so overwhelmed by something.
Wow.
Because it was like, because I hadn't played like that for obviously like 18 months, it was just like this overwhelming feeling it was crazy. But yeah, I must admit beforehand I was a bit anxious, and I was thinking, oh, like, how am I going to keep myself safe? Like, what am I gonna play? Are there even going to be people there? Do you know what I mean? Like, all of these questions were running through my head, because there were so many unknowns, wasn't there, before we went back? Like, we didn't really know what to expect, and I think it's not knowing that makes you feel a bit anxious.
Definitely. I mean, you touched on some really interesting points there, and definitely something that I myself felt being back in the clubs last week. It was a number of factors. It was anything obviously like restrictions or kind of cleanliness led, and then also about music, because, you know, we haven't, being a DJ, a key part of that is playing out, it's playing new music in front of, you know, new crowds or your regular crowds, and we haven't been able to play music for almost best part of 2 years in a proper club environment. So how did you approach that? Did you just kind of rely on like the classic tracks? Did you like fling in loads of new music? Was it a mixture of both depending on the crowd reaction? How did you approach kind of selection, I guess?
Well, I was quite lucky. On my first night back, the majority of the crowd were students. So in my head, I was thinking, right, like, I know what kind of music students like. They love all the new stuff. They love the drill. They love the grime. They love the hip hop, which obviously for me is sick, because that's what I love playing. And my night was quite cool because basically I was playing in like the upstairs bar of this venue until midnight, and then at midnight they moved everyone into the club. So I played from like 8 till 12 in the bar, so I kind of knew the vibe from just doing that kind of warm-up set almost. And then yeah, as soon as I got in there, it was just about reading the room like we always do. But yeah, I did throw a lot of new music in there, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. But then at the same time, I threw a load of classics in there, and they loved that as well. So I think it's just about switching it up a little bit, not going in too hard with all of the new stuff straight away, and just kind of switching it up, going between both.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting way of looking at it, because I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter. Some DJs, you know, DJs like to moan. We all do. I've seen some DJs on Twitter like, oh, I can't believe people are still playing the same sets from 2019. And then other people being like, I can't believe DJs are coming in and like just smashing people over their head with the biggest tunes in the last 2 months, and no one knows what they are. So it was really interesting to kind of see,
you know what,
the balance.
I guess we have to think these people in the clubs haven't heard those songs from 2019 played out either. So, like, everyone loved that music before COVID happened. So, like, in my head, I'm thinking, well, they've not heard it on this kind of sound system for 18 months either. So for me, it was just like playing everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was obviously smashing out the new stuff, but the old stuff always sounds great as well. So I was kind of just splitting between the two, and it seemed to work.
Sick. Oh, I know it well. I know what you're capable of as a DJ. You're being modest here. I think it worked. It definitely worked. So the word pressure has come up a lot across the last 60 months, but especially in like a musical capacity. So from you with the promoter or the venue owner or other DJs you may have been working with on the night, was there a pressure that like, oh my God, this is a massive big deal, everyone's back, it's got to be amazing, I've got to step up my game and be brilliant? Was that ever anything that kind of presented itself to you?
You know what, it didn't present itself from other people. I think that was more a pressure I put on myself. Like, I was there like, this is the first set back, I'm privileged enough that they've asked me to do this set, so I need to make it sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think all the like the venue staff, like the promoters, they were just wanting for it to go well. They just wanted to kind of make sure that everything was as it should be and ran smoothly. But I think in my head, I was thinking, yeah, this is sick that they've booked me, but I need to make sure that this is sick for them, like their first opening night in however long. So yeah, I think most of that pressure came from me, really. And also like the social media, do you know what I mean? Like, I was seeing it all over Twitter, like, oh, DJs, you're back playing tonight, like, you smash it out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, like, I need to make this really sick. But yeah, I think most of it came from me, really.
Yeah, I think you raised an interesting point there about the pressures of social media that sometimes as DJs we don't kind of admit to or admit to looking at. So I think, you know, what would be interesting is to anyone else listening out there who's just getting back into the clubs, or is maybe there's some people who've started the journey of DJing through lockdown and have never really had the chance to play in front of a crowd. So from your perspective, Rach, what tips or advice would you give to anyone who's kind of getting back in to performing in clubs and is feeling a little bit anxious? Like, what's some good advice you can share with the people?
I reckon don't overthink it. Just kind of go there and do what you love. That for me makes a sick DJ. Like, if you go there with a really planned set that you can't be kind of fluid with, then I don't know, it just doesn't seem to flow as well. Just go there and have fun, but also remember that things are a little bit different at the minute, and it's going to take a bit of time to get used to, and like adapting to feeling a bit anxious, because obviously we've been through a pandemic for the last however long. Like, we are going to feel anxious, but that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you could feel anxious going into a shopping centre, going to a restaurant. I think as long as we're all being careful, like, people are doing tests, not coming to the venues if they're feeling ill, like using hand sanitizer, things like that. Like, if everyone in the nightlife industry can do that, we've just got to kind of adapt to this feeling of being a bit anxious. But honestly, as soon as you start playing out, those anxieties just seem to disappear, because you just get so engrossed into music, and like seeing everyone have a sick time, like, honestly, it was the best feeling. Like, just seeing everyone dancing, singing along, having a good time, like, yeah, it was just incredible.
Wow, what an amazing bit of advice there. Thank you for sharing it with us, and thank you to RACH KAY for joining us here at Pyro today, just giving us some insight into the kind of DJ perspective, getting back in the clubs, and kind of, you know, stepping up the game and being in a good position to kind of keep smashing it. But before I let you go, Rach, I have to ask you to pick one track right now that either you're playing or you're going to be playing a lot in the club, a track that's you're really feeling and can't wait to be playing out there, and we'll play it right now here on air.
Do you know what I am loving? And I know everyone loves it, but I am loving Essence by WizKid. I played it on the like Freedom Night, and it went off. I think I wheeled it up about 3 times. It just went off. Like, it is such a summer anthem. So yeah, that is a banger for me. And I also played, I know you can only play one, but I also played Mask Off as my first song. And that just went on.
Oh, do you know what? On my first gig back, I was at Scala, and I was flicking through Record Box, and I saw Future Mask Off. I was like, is it a bit bait? And I was like, nah, they're going to love it. And I pressed play and the place went mental.
Literally, they literally went off, and I was like, yeah, that was a good shout.
Do you know what? DJs are greedy. You've picked 2 tunes, but I think we've both decided on the track we're going to play right now. This is RACH Kay's Joy's Future Mask Off. Let's go.
Percocet.